Jay here for Stretford, Paddock. England 2, the Netherlands 1. They're through to the final in no small measure thanks to that diminutive midfielder from Stockport, Mainoo, who had an absolute worldie of a game. Joining me for this review is Mr. Dave Scott. How we doing, bro?
Buzzing, man. Yeah. Great evening.
Entertaining at least, wasn't it?
Yeah, it really was.
Yeah, man, that's what we want to see. You've got Ethan James in the corner there.
Hello, Jay. Over the moon.
He is.
Yeah.
I think it's safe to say, not to go all scouse,
no,
but this means more to you, doesn't it?
Oh, this means more to me than anyone in this room.
Yeah, I think that's a fair comment.
Yeah.
And also joining me is Nathan Ellington, former Premier League footballer Nathan Ellington, who called it as well. He was saying get Ollie Watkins on, didn't you? You said that. He came on, he scored that winner, and I'll be honest with you, when he got that winner, just before he hit it, I was getting annoyed, thinking, Mainoo's there, what are you doing? Like, just pull it back for Mainoo, but great finish, great goal. And Gareth Southgate, to his credit, he got his substitutions right. Cole Palmer and Ollie Watkins involved in that winner. He made some big calls in taking off Harry Kane and Phil Foden as well. But we'll go through the game, get involved in the chat in the comments. Make sure you are hitting that like button as well. And if you're not doing, or you've not done so already, please subscribe to the channel. Nave, not a great start from England. We go way back, what seems like an eternity ago, to that the sort of the first 10 minutes. Xavi Simons getting that goal. We were talking about it, 25 yards out. Didn't quite hit into the corner. No. You pointed it out and I agree with you. Pickford probably should have done better.
Yeah, keeper should save that. And obviously in the end we're 1-0 down and it's looking like they're the better side from the looks of it. But really, it should be 0-0.
Yeah.
And then we get our tails up because that's what we need to start playing. And I think we did the right thing there. The good thing was we conceded so early, because otherwise we probably would have seen what we saw second half for pretty much most of the first. So that kicked us into gear. We started really going at it and we got chances. We got some good chances. Obviously you've seen Foden get through. You see Foden hit the post, and you see the ball cleared off the line from Dumfries. And then you see that Harry Kane shot. So that Harry Kane shot, he follows through. And, it's one of them things where the referee could easily have not given it. But come to think of it now, it probably was a pen from the look of it and the way I was thinking about it. And look, we got the one goal back. And then it was, we were still the better team the rest of that first half. So in terms of the first half, we were definitely playing a lot better. And hats off to the manager, Southgate, for picking that side and moving Bellingham out to be the one who's kind of out of position and letting Foden be on his game with Mainoo. And it worked well because Bellingham can really play more positions.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really affect him. Whereas some of the other players like Foden, like Mainoo, they have to play their position, and it worked out today.
I was impressed, you know what? The more I think about it, the more so even later on in that game, I was impressed with Jude Bellingham today, because you pointed out in the first half and you were spot on. He filled that role, on the left-hand side with a little bit more discipline than Phil Foden's been showing. He wasn't cutting inside. He wasn't getting in Harry Kane and Phil Foden's way. He was sort of not quite in chalk on his boots down that wing, but over on the left-hand side, staying there a lot when he had to, linking up well with Kieran Trippier, and then later on in the game, in the second half, a little bit with Luke Shaw as well. It was a very sort of measured and controlled performance by Jude Bellingham that served its purpose.
Yeah, it was. He was given instructions and he followed them through to a T, and that's been the problem throughout the tournament as far as I'm concerned. When Foden's been out on the left, he's been drifting inside too much, and that's been causing problems. Now, Gareth Southgate obviously didn't want to drop Foden and was trying to figure out how it's going to work best, and that was by moving Jude Bellingham out to the left. Now, look, Bellingham prefers to play in the middle. I imagine he does. So it would have been easy for him not to have a good game, because he could go, I don't want to play on the left wing, but he didn't do that. It was very measured. You're right, the right word is discipline there. And you could see, every time he received the ball, he knew Trippier was coming behind him, and that's why Trippier was getting more service, because that left flank has gone missing through large parts of every single game up until this point, and which is why everything's gone through Saka on the right every game, and why it's been such predictable football. Once he'd sorted that piece of the jigsaw out, everything else seemed to fall into place.
Yeah, 100%. No, it's a really good point. And listen, it's better to be, stumbling at the beginning of a tournament, scraping through, maybe getting things wrong, but getting away with it, and then hitting your stride right near the end. And this feels like Gareth Southgate has kind of done that a little bit, whether that's by luck or by design, however you want to sort of say it. He's certainly, sort of found his mojo right now in the sort of the semi-final stage, because his tactics and his substitutions were spot on. Ethan, we've wanted to see this from England, haven't we? We wanted to see this sort of using these players in the right way, because England are blessed with some phenomenal players, and I don't like the term world class, but I think you can look at some of these players and say they are certainly there or thereabouts. You look at the likes of Jude Bellingham, you look at the likes of Phil Foden, Harry Kane, what he can do as well. Obviously, can't ignore the amount of goals he scores. And Mainoo, who's a youngster, but he's capable of so much. And it felt like he didn't know what he was doing with him. He didn't know how to use him. Mainoo didn't start the first few games. He tried Trent, Alexander-Arnold, he tried Conor Gallagher, Foden and Bellingham getting each other's way. People saying Harry Kane maybe should drop to get the best out of him. You're not playing the right system. But tonight, it felt like every single player I've mentioned there had a role and fulfilled that role.
Yeah, I agree with that. And it's a funny concept growing into a tournament, isn't it? Because if you don't grow into a tournament quickly enough, you might have 3 games and then you've not done it at all. We were quite fortunate against Slovakia, but game on game now after Slovakia, after the Switzerland game, and tonight was the performance where you were like, that was proper. You talk, Jay, about England teams, this England team having many superstars in it, but we've seen in previous years England teams have even bigger stars, and it just didn't work. It just didn't function. You look at Gerrard and Lampard, it just didn't work, but it should have worked. And I think if you're going to give the manager credit, because I think it has been poor for large parts of this tournament, they've finally got it clicking. And you know what, sometimes if it isn't the prettiest or the best, it can be effective. I mean, we look at the French so far this tournament. It's come to an early end, and maybe previous tournaments, they don't play the best football in the world, but they win stuff. Maybe this is England's time where finally they've got players gelling together. Those superstars are finally working. They weren't taking up the same space as much. Foden and Bellingham, they got it right today by putting Bellingham on the left. Foden was flourishing, and it worked in the end. So maybe this is our time, but it's finally got it working again. And like I said, if it's not the most beautiful football, it doesn't matter as long as it's effective. And England have finally got that, I think.
Yeah, I mean, there's no disputing Southgate has been lucky with his draws. We've all said this, and yes, sometimes there's you make your own luck or whatever, but you look at the draws he's had in major tournaments where you've had the likes of Tunisia and Panama, and then Colombia, missing James Rodriguez, Sweden, whatever. You've had relatively easy draws in the last Euros as well, up until it almost felt like it was an easy route to the final. Denmark without Christian Eriksen, Ukraine who were pretty poor, and a Germany team that wasn't great. But that aside, I mean, another final. Yep. 2 successive Euros finals. He's been to a World Cup semi-final and a quarter-final. They put a graphic on ITV, it's showing the game, comparing England in the last sort of 4 tournaments to every other major nation. Yeah. And England's record is better in terms of final. I know, obviously not, because France have won a World Cup and Italy have won a Euros. But in terms of like the last that we're getting there, you can't ignore all that. Yes, you don't have to go see team go, he's wonderful, but give him a bit of credit. He's got a job done and he's got to another final. Yeah,
I mean, like the cliches, the proof's in the pudding. They've got to another final, and he has to win it now. Yeah. Otherwise, all them statistics that you're looking at when you're saying they've had better success by the later stages compared to the nations, if they've not won a World Cup like France, if he's not won a Euros like Italy, it counts for nothing. And and he's probably got one of the hardest tasks, because the step up from the Dutch team that they've just beat tonight, and the teams before, to go from them to be able to beat this Spanish team, which unquestionably is the best team in this tournament, is going to be huge. Yeah. So if he's a time to get it right, it was the game. It was the precursor to the final, because his starting 11 picks itself now, I think.
Just seeing that Ollie Watkins finish again, I didn't realise how good it was.
I'm telling you, man.
That is an elite finish, that, isn't it? Like, if you look at that, everything about it, his touch to take him away from the defender, the turn, and the finish. He puts it in exactly the spot the keeper's got no chance. Yep. He hits it so sweetly. And it's good to see Ollie Watkins, because you know what, with Ollie Watkins, right? He's kind of one of those players that, it's weird, because I feel like more people who aren't Villa fans love Ivan Toney and think Ivan Toney's the man, and
they get behind their guy.
Yeah,
I love Ollie Watkins. Yeah, I think he's a top player.
And the guy his career trajectory, you got to respect that. I think he went from Lowleys to Brentford to Villa,
same teams, isn't he?
Yeah, like he's sort of scoring loads of goals all along the way. Seems like a pretty level-headed guy. Gets on with it. I've watched Villa a few times, and I've watched him where, even though he scored 20 odd goals, you see the likes of Leon Bailey and one or two others, and they can be a little bit greedy at times. And he's not one of those throws his arms about and moans. He just keeps going, keeps getting himself in those positions, gets on the end of things, and scores goals. And to take your chance like that, to come on, what is this, his second appearance in these finals?
Yeah, 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Not had much.
Yeah, that was like, he barely touched the ball, and yet he sets himself up beautifully. There's a lot to do when he got that ball and gets his goal. Thoroughly deserves it, and it's good to see. Let's look ahead quick. Sorry, I'll get in some comments, and just before we wrap up, I'll ask you guys about the final because we have to talk about it. Jason Thompson says, I think Mainoo's been our best player. Completely agree.
Welcome.
Yes,
Welcome.
I love that.
Welcome to Old
Little
Trafford.
smirk from Kobe Mainoo when he sees Xerxes. Daniel Merriman says it's Rodri and Olmo and Ruiz and Yamal. Well, all of them talking about Spain. We're going to get to Spain in a minute. Mainoo was so good this evening, says Daniel Merriman. I agree. I think Mainoo's had a very good, very good tournament. Wazza says very bad Euro, worst England in history reached the final. Proves how shy this was. I don't think it's the worst England team in history, to be honest with you. I've seen much worse than that. I'm old enough to remember. I'm a bit older than you are, Nathan. I think in '88 we lost every single game. In '92 we didn't win a game. I think. Well, this is
94 didn't get
that. 94 didn't qualify. 2008 we didn't qualify. So, and we have. Don't get me started on that. We'll be here all day. I want to talk to you about Spain, Scotty. If we can lower the mood a little bit. Very, very good team, playing very well, have very good players. The record of Spanish teams in general is ridiculous in finals. I mean, there's no doubt that England are the underdogs going into this game.
Yeah, massively so, I think. I think it's a huge mountain for them to climb, but, it's 90 minutes, 120 minutes, it could be penalties. It's one game, anything could happen. You don't know if England are going to take this and then progress and get better than they have been so far. But this Spain team looked formidable. I backed them at the beginning of the tournament when we were talking.
Yeah, you did, to be fair. You did.
And I said, the thing about the Spanish team that I'm concerned about is, are they going to be able to score enough goals? Now, they're the leading goal scorers in the tournament, and they're playing phenomenal footballers with it, and they're fearless. I watched yesterday when they went 1-0 down against France, and I thought, all right, this will be interesting. This will see the test of them players, because they've got, like the Yamal and Williams, really young lads. How are they going to do? Well, they didn't make a difference. I saw a 16-year-old bending it in the box, and the man should be in bed. Do you know what I mean? Ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And they play with a freedom that I'd love to watch England play, but Southgate isn't setting them up like that. I think England now are in the position because Southgate knows how he wants them to play. I think his first 11 is the same today, but starts with Shaw, and then bring Watkins on and wet later on. So, we go forward with that. So he's got that to build on for the next sort of 4 or 5 days. I just think it's one step too far, but it's one game, and who knows.
This is it, Eve. It is one game, innit? It's like, I don't want to get all cliche with him, but you don't know what can happen in a final in one game. There can be a decision or a set piece, or Spain might run out of steam, and all that sounds like wishful thinking, but it's been a long tournament, but a lot of those players have played a lot of football. Strange things have happened. How do you rate England's chances of going into this game? And if you're Gareth Southgate, what do you do? Do you shut up shop and try and shithouse it, or do you go for it?
Viva la shithouse, Jay. We've done it
Viva
all tournament.
Shithouse, yeah. Okay.
Viva la shithouse. We've done it all tournament. We've not been brilliant at all, apart from, I thought today we were pretty good. And you know what? It goes back to that old cliche, and I don't know if it's really true, but good teams or winners or champions, they win games where they shouldn't have really won. And I guess we've got to this stage by not being brilliant, and that can be an all right sign, I guess. But then again, you can say, yeah, but we've been crap, Ethan, and I can completely get that. But Spain have been good, Jade. The journey so far in this tournament, they've had a lot of a tougher run than us. They've beat Croatia, they've beat Italy, they've beat Germany, they've beat France. Yeah. So we've not really done any of those teams.
Yeah.
We beat hang on a minute.
Oh my gosh.
We beat Switzerland on penalties. Yeah. We drew with Denmark.
Yeah.
Didn't beat Denmark.
And we just scored last minute against Holland.
We drew with Slovenia. Yeah. We've got some pedigree in this competition. Let's not forget that. No, listen. In many ways, it might do England a favour, because we went into that Euros final in 2020 or 2021 because it was later because of COVID. Favourites. It was at Wembley. Italy weren't hadn't set the world alight. I think they'd taken penalties to get past.
I was at the game at Wembley.
Yeah, so I think a lot of people looked and thought England probably favourites for that, and especially when you took the lead. Didn't happen, maybe, and again, it might be wishful thinking. It gives England a bit of a boost because everyone's expecting Spain to win, and you never know. Sometimes you can have that underdog thing where, you get the result, but it's going to be hard.
You can look at the decisions. I mean, today's a prime example. We didn't know whether that was a penalty.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
VAR.
If that doesn't get given, I don't think there's a massive injustice there. I don't think people are. I don't think we're all sat here going, "Wow, it was one of those."
But if that doesn't get given, I think it's a completely different
game.
No,
I agree.
Because that was the catalyst that gave the whole team a jolt that said, right, we need to sort our heads out now. We're in the semi-finals of the Euros. So it'd be interesting. You'll never know. But that's how games can change on a.
Yeah, no, I agree, definitely. Listen, I'm going to wrap it up there. Thanks to everyone who got involved in the comments and the chat. Go and check out Ethan James on Sloppy Joes. You've just recorded one today, is that right?
Oh, I think that's right, Trey. Yes, we did record one today. They'll be out on Fridays and Tuesdays, so stay tuned for that.
Fridays and Tuesdays. Go and check out Nathan Ellington as well on your channel. Doing bits on there. Big United fan. Doing some good stuff, so make sure you check that out. Me and Scotty are going to be back. We're going to be back in about 20 minutes. Going to do a little review of our own on Scotty and Marty, so make sure you check that out as well. That's been Nathan Ellington. That's been Dave Scott. That's been Ethan James. I've been Jay Marty. England through to the Euros to the Euros final in no small measure. Thank you to Mainoo. Thanks for watching.